It's been about a 5-hour drive, and I just checked into the hotel near the track, and it's time to get some rest and get ready for tomorrow's track day at Summit Point Raceway. I'm a little tired, which is good, so I need to sleep, and about 20-minute drive to the track in the morning. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a bit nervous, being that this is the first time back on the track since my SLK 350 was destroyed. The forecast for tomorrow doesn't leave me with a whole lot more reason for comfort. About 50% chance of rain tomorrow, and just now I can start to hear rain falling pretty hard outside on the hotel roof. And it's looking like it's going to rain all night. So I'm going to try not to be concerned, and we're going to have to go through, as a friend of mine said, my Ricky Bobby process of driving through the fear and overcoming the fact that my last track outing did not end well. I want to leave this track outing with having had a good day, a safe day, and the BMW in one piece. So time to get some sleep, and in the morning head out to the track and see what things look like. Early morning, as all track days must begin, and I'm covering the 15 or so miles between my hotel and the track at Summit Point Raceway. As I feared, the weatherman was 100% right about the 50% chance of rain, and today has fallen on the wrong side of that 50. I'm wishing that it had been a dry day. I'm thinking about how I'm looking forward to feeling my car on the track, and I'm pensive. A few miles from the track and I come upon another car. I can tell by the way it's being driven that this is a fellow track day junkie headed my way. And to my surprise, I see it's an SLK 350. I smile a big grin to see that I'm not the only driver to have chosen this car as a track day toy. Later I would find the driver in the paddock, and we share our impressions of the SLK as an unsung sports car hero. Set up camp, complete tech inspection, and a driver's meeting, and it's time for a spotting lap. I welcome the chance to drive the track at quarter speed, since I've only realized this morning that my previous trip to Summit Point had me on the Jefferson circuit, and today we will be driving the Shenandoah circuit, a longer and more technical track for sure, and one that I don't know at all. A few laps of spotting and we are smoothly snaking around the track, learning our lines, finding our own ways we plan to attack the track today. The rain has let up a bit, and I start to think, well, maybe today won't be the washout I feared. Just about an hour later, the intermediate group would head out onto the track, and my optimism would be soaked in a steady barrage of raindrops. So as my fellow BMW owner in his M2 goes around the skid pad, I'm sitting in the rain under my tent, and the group that I went out with just a few minutes ago is finishing up. I've come in early. Why have I come in early? Well, nothing tragic happened, thankfully, but the rain started to fall pretty heavily right when our group went out, and maybe I began to have a bit of a Talladega Nights or a Days of Thunder moment. But around turn 4 on one of my laps, I felt the back end slide out on the 2 Series, and it slid pretty far, and I recovered it. It was a nice recovery. And the next few turns, I could just feel the back end being super loose. It's very wet, it's very slick on this track. And I just decided, as Richard Hammond might put it, I've just been put off of big crashes lately. I don't think I want to hit a wall today, and I don't think I want a car running into me and pushing me into a wall. So I'm going to watch and see what the conditions look like today. I think I've probably decided with some level of certainty that wet track driving is not going to be my thing. If it dries out a little bit and the rain stops, I'll go back out. But I didn't train as an Olympic ice skater. I don't know how to skate on ice. And I know if I'm not comfortable, I won't drive well. If I don't drive well and comfortably, I won't drive smooth. If I don't drive smooth, I can't drive fast. So, know your limits, as they say. Taking a little bit of a break. I'll do a little skid pad watching, and we'll see if things get better before the end of the day. By midday, it looked again like the rain clouds might have finally decided to ruin someone else's day,
and I'd take a walk to watch the advanced group tear around the circuit, and then I'd admire some cars. It was nice to see that just about every iteration of the 2 Series is represented here, plus a few cars that cost just a bit more. Later in the day, our group has another session, and it's drier, so I head back out. This time I've smartly positioned myself at the back of the group, so I can have clear track without holding up faster drivers behind me. Unfortunately, I can tell my mind isn't where it needs to be. I'm missing my lines, my nerves are too on edge, and the sensation of having a helmet on my head inside the car has a surprisingly disturbing impact on me. Several laps go by as I just try to dial in and focus on hitting my lines, feeling the car, and paying attention to what the wheel and tires are telling me. But that all goes out the window because I'm driving slowly, like grandmother slow. And the first cars that went out in our session are starting to swoop in behind me with snarling flat sixes, shrieking like banshees as they downshift just off my left rear quarter panel. I begin the familiar process of pointing by the faster drivers, and with each pass I can feel my heart racing. The sensations are all too familiar. The claustrophobic sensation of my peripheral vision cut by the helmet, tires skittering across the moist pavement, and the rush of wind running over my arm as I jab my finger out the window in a point by, as if to say, I know, I might as well be driving a golf cart. Please, after you. With each pass, I feel more out of my element, and as each car comes out of my left periphery, I realize, deep in the recesses of my mind, that I'm remembering something. Something that has made this day on the track anything but enjoyable. A series of cars leaves me behind, and I can tell I won't be able to find the zone I need to be in to relax and enjoy the drive. I'm not learning. I'm in an illogical state of fight or flight, and I decide again that it's best I leave the track this day, and I head into the pits.
So what went wrong? Well, I think I introduced too many variables into the experiment. For starters, it was a rainy day that mirrored the conditions of my last not-so-great track day. A brand new circuit that I'd never driven before, and I only found out that fact that morning, and that introduced a level of uncertainty to my day. Driving in a brand new car didn't help either. It's a car that I don't know well at track speeds. It's a car that I've got a lot to learn about in terms of how it feels when you're driving at the limit, and that, coupled with those other circumstances, made for a really unpredictable day. On top of all that, I had a little low-level PTSD that I didn't realize I had until that morning. Some holdover from my accident from last year, and having the helmet out in the car and having cars whizzing around me at track speeds caused me to have a bit of an impact mentally and emotionally to what it felt like to get back onto the track, and I've got to work through that. And then lastly was the fact that I was driving with the intermediate group, which is probably right for my experience level, but maybe not right for my skill set at this point. And certainly when I'm driving in a new car and have to work through some of the issues of putting the past behind me, maybe I should have been with a novice group on this event. So what is next? Well, I look forward to seeing what this car can actually do at full track speed. I drove extremely tentatively this day and never saw what the 228 is really capable of. You know, I thought twice before sharing this experience in this episode, because I know there will be some that think I'm silly for feeling as tentative as I was on the track or pulling back due to fear. But as I look back on the experience of this day, I learned a lot. And I realized that I've got to face the fact that I had a pretty scary event when my car was totaled during my last track event last year. And I needed to acknowledge that this day and recognize that, first of all, wet driving is a different skill set that I've got to build up to. And as silly as I felt for leaving the track earlier that day and cutting my track day short, I feel like I made the right decision for me. I walked away with myself and my car intact. I learned a lot. I realized I've got to make some adjustments in terms of how I learn this track driving thing. And as much as I thought about holding back and sharing this experience with you, the viewer, I made a promise when I started this channel that I was going to be honest about what my track driving education was like and share that with other folks. So here's honesty, and if folks decide to flame in the comments, so be it. So next for me will probably be an autocross event where I learn a little bit more about what this car is capable of from a nimble handling perspective. And I'm looking forward to experiencing autocross and pushing my driving skill to that next level. And then as I spend some time in some more high-performance driver education days, I'll probably join some novice groups to give myself the ability to step back up to where I was before my accident and get my body and my head in the right place. So I appreciate you taking a look at this journey as it continues to unfold, and I look forward to bringing that autocross experience to you soon. As always, thanks for watching.